Okay, hello and welcome to Narayana IS. I am Pratik, faculty for Daily News Analysis. Students, in today's discussion, we are going to focus on four most important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. But before we begin with the four topics that we shall be discussing today, let us go through a motivational quote so that you're motivated enough to understand all the four topics and eventually to crack the examination. So what is today's motivational quote? Stop looking for missed opportunities, start looking for the new ones. For all those students who think that they cannot clear this year's prelims examination or may let's say a delay in their preparation, do not worry about the missed opportunities. Think what lies ahead of you. Focus on the possibilities. Do not focus on what you have missed. You learn from the failures, you learn from your past mistakes, but do not allow those mistakes hinder or stop your growth. Make sure that you're focusing on the possibilities, work and eventually ensure that you are successful. Right? On this note, let us go to the topics that we shall be discussing today. The first topic is taken from Hindu page number 6, greater share. Now here the states are demanding more share of the taxes the center collect of the divisive pool of taxes. So here we'll understand the concept of tax devolution, the horizontal vertical devolution, and understand the issues of states with respect to the sharing of taxes. The next topic is taken from Hindu page number 1. Here we'll understand India's own forecasting system which was developed by IIMT Pune, which is known by the name Bharat Forecast System. So we'll understand the features of this system because such type of questions from such topics will be definitely asked in the examination. The third topic is taken from Indian Express page number 19. This article will understand the concept of gene editing tool, that is CRISPR. What is CRISPR-Cas9? We'll understand this concept. The fourth topic is taken from Indian Express page number 19. Here we'll understand the concept of monsoon onset. What exactly one understands by the term monsoon onset as explained or given by IMD, that is Indian Meteorological Department. So these are the four topics that we shall be discussing in today's DNA session. The first topic, the title is greater share, and in this we'll understand the need for equitable resource sharing and the concept of fiscal federalism. This you can map for prelims as well as for means. Means under GS paper 3 we have Indian economy and issues relating to planning mobilization. Now why do we understand or study this topic? Because questions from this topic can be asked in the examination as it was asked in the year 2021. Though the federal principle is dominant in our constitution and that principle is one of its basic features, but it is equally true that federalism under the Indian constitution leans in favor of a strong center, a feature that militates against the concept of strong federalism. The language may sound difficult, but it is very easy to understand once you read it 2 or 3 times, right? Such type of questions can be asked in the examination. That's the reason we study this topic. What is the context? Now students, see this topic. It discusses Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks when he made during the governing council meeting of Niti Aayog. So the Prime Minister spoke about the need for better cooperation. One, better cooperation between the center and the state, especially after the introduction of goods and service tax GST. Now, however, many states are now asking for a fairer or proportional share of central taxes. Why? Because GST has changed how the finances or let's say taxes are shared. So they want fair share of who? The states. They want fair share of taxes. in proportion to what, or let's say in commensurate in proportion to what they contribute. And this points to the growing tension in fiscal federalism. Fiscal federalism, which means the way financial powers and resources are shared between the center and the states. Financial power and resources. So this is the context. Now we'll understand the basic concept of divisible pool of taxes. What exactly one understands by the term divisible pool of taxes? What is the definition? What is the basic understanding? See, the divisible pool of taxes is the total amount of certain taxes. What? Total amount of central taxes. Divisible pool of taxes is the total amount of certain taxes collected by the union government. Of all the taxes, certain taxes are collected by the union government. So, of all the taxes the center collects, a certain percentage of these taxes they are shared with the states. This is what we understand by the concept of divisible pool of taxes, which is mentioned in Article 270 of the Indian Constitution. So the center collects various taxes. Of the taxes it collects, there is a percentage of share that they have to share with the states. Role in fiscal federalism. Now this divisible pool, that is the sharing of taxes between center and the states, is a key part of fiscal federalism, which means the financial relationship between the union government and the state government's federal setup. So this is the role of divisible pool in the concept of fiscal federalism. Now, which are the taxes included in the divisible pool? Now, taxes that are shared between the center and the states include: one, the corporation tax, isn't it? Corporation tax. Then we have personal tax, personal income tax. Then we have GST. So these taxes, the corporation tax, the personal income, so the income tax that the common citizens of our country pay is collected by the center, but it is shared with the states. Now the center's share of IGST. What is IGST? Integrated Goods and Service Tax, which applies to interstate trade. Now the center also collects the taxes deriving out of IGST, and then it is shared with the states. Now, in this context, it is important to understand the role of Finance Commission. Finance Commission is set up every 5 years under Article 280 of the Indian Constitution. Very basic information about Finance Commission. It decides how the divisible pool should be split, how the money should be shared between the center and states. It also reviews the financial position of both the center and the states, and then give recommendations about how the money needs to be shared between the center and the states. Provisions of grants in aid. Now, besides, other than tax sharing, the Finance Commission also suggests giving grants in aid to whom? To the states, which means helping the states. Now, these are the funds given to help states with special needs, or let's say to reduce the financial inequality among them. So, if a state is in, let's say, need of money, a state like Bihar, a state like, let's say, Kerala, which is affected by flood, if such a state requires help, then the Finance Commission recommends, okay, this amount of money has to be given to this state. Why? Because the state is in dire need of money. Exclusion of cess and surcharge. Now, what is cess and surcharge? They are extra charges levied by the union government for specific purpose. Let's say, for example, you are, let's say, buying a petrol or buying 1 liter petrol. Let's say it's 100 rupees. On top of that 100 rupees, the center may collect 1% as cess, or let's say 2% as cess, which means you need to pay 2 rupees to the government as part of cess. And then this money, the money that the government collects in the form of cess, is used for education or health. Now, please remember, cess and surcharge are not included in the divisive pool. This means the center gives 100% of the revenue coming from the cess and surcharge. This money is not shared with the states. I hope you understood the basic idea, or you got the basic information about divisible pool of taxes. How the money is to be shared, split between center and the states. Right now, let us try to understand the finance commission and the basis of allocation. So far, we have discussed how the money is to be shared between the center and the states, and who decides what percentage of money is to be shared between the center and the states. It is the finance commission. Now, finance commission is a constitutional body. Finance commission is a constitutional body that is set up that is established every 5 years by the union government. It is responsible for giving recommendations on the distribution of financial resources between the center and the states. Now, talking about the composition of finance commission, the commission comprises of chairman plus 4 members, and all the members are appointed by whom? By the president. This is a point for your prelims examination. All the members are appointed by president. Talking of the legal framework, now the rules related to qualification of members of the chairman are given by the Financial Commission Act of 1951. Financial Commission, the precise name is Financial Commission Miscellaneous Provisions Act. Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1951. Now, talking of the latest Finance Commission, the Union government has formed the 16th Finance Commission. And who is the chairman of 16th Finance Commission? It is Dr. Arvind Panaki. Now, this commission will give recommendations for the period between 26 and 31. So, the recommendations, now please remember, the recommendations are advisory, they are not binding in nature. The commission will give recommendations for the period of 26 to 31. This is the 16th Finance Commission. Now, this is something very important to understand. What is the basis of allocation? How much money the central government has to share among the states, and whether each and every state will get the same amount of money is something that we need to understand. So, what is the basis of allocation? Of course, not each and every state receives the same amount of money. So, here we'll understand the concept of vertical devolution. Now, vertical devolution refers to how the divisible pool of taxes is to be split between the union and all the states combined. Now, according to the 15th Finance Commission, the states' share of the divisive pool was 41%, which means, let's say, if the center is collecting 100 rupees in the form of taxes, 41 rupees is to be given to the states. 41 rupees is to be given to the states. This is vertical devolution. Now, how this 41 rupees is to be shared between all the states? Whether you divide 41 by all the states? No. Then here you need to understand the concept of horizontal devolution. This brings us to the concept of horizontal devolution, which refers to how this 41% share meant for the states is divided among all the individual states. This distribution is based on the multiple criteria. For example, these are the criteria: income, population, forest and ecology, demographic performance, tax effort. So please remember the criteria, they can be asked in the examination. Such type of questions will definitely be asked in the examination. When it comes to income, the gap between the state's per capita, per person's income and that of the state with the highest per capita income difference. And what is the purpose of inclusion? To provide more resources to states with lower per capita incomes. The states which are relatively poor, here a large share of the divisible pool of resources, or let's say taxes, will be given to that state. Population figures based on the 2011 census. Please remember, till the 14th Finance Commission, the weightage was given for population as per 1971 census. Very important point, to align financial distribution with the current population reflecting demographic changes. Forest, demographic, tax effort, the efficiency of a state's tax collection system. So these are the criteria. I want you to please download the daily notes from the comment section, or you can visit our website to download the daily notes, and please make a note of this table. This can be asked in the examination for sure. So you can also refer to this table where you understand the horizontal devolution and how the the percentage of money or percentage of taxes given to the states was divided among all the states on which criteria. So here you can see. Now let us try to understand the key issues in the center state fiscal dynamics. Now first is the centralized control through cess and surcharge. Now see, in the year 2024 and 2025, the cesses and surcharges made up nearly 23 percentage, of the center's gross tax receipts. So 23% is a significant number. These collections are not part of the divisive pool, so states get no share from them. Though the 15th Finance Commission recommended a 41% share for taxes, as we discussed, they have actually received around 32% in recent years. And this reduces the financial strength of states, which means if the Finance Commission is suggesting to give 41% to the states, in reality, the states are only getting 32%. This is one issue with regarding cess and surcharge. Restricted use of shared funds. The funds collected through the GST compensation cess are often used to repay past borrowings, not for state level projects. This is another problem. Now, some cesses do fund central schemes, but states have no say in how the money is actually used. And this weakens cooperative fiscal planning between the center and the states. The next is mismatch in tax contribution versus the receipts. Now, for example, states like Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, they contribute more in taxes but get back less than 1 rupee for every 1 rupee contributed. So the southern states, if they're contributing 1 rupee in the form of taxes, they get 0.4, 0.5% in return. But the northern states like UP and Bihar, for every rupee they contribute to the tax, they get 1.6, 1.7% or 1.7 rupee for every rupee they contribute to the center's tax receipt. And why this happens? Because corporate taxes are credited to the place where the company's headquarters are located, not where the product is made. Let's say a product is being made in the state of Bihar, but the headquarters of the company is in Karnataka. Then the state government, which means the corporate taxes are credited to the place where the company's headquarters are located. Also, some states collect GST more effectively than others, causing unequal returns. This is another problem. Share for the southern states. Now, the share of southern states in the divisible pool has dropped over the years, over time. Recent finance commission have given more importance to equity factors like population and area rather than efficiency factors like good governance or let's say tax collection, which means we are actually penalizing the states who have done a better job, and this affects the state that have managed their economies well. So you can penalize a state that has performed well. You also need to reward states that have done well. They have, let's say, efficiently collected the taxes, have managed the finances better. You have to reward the states and not punish the states. The next is loss of fiscal autonomy post GST. Now, with the introduction of GST, the states lost control over key taxes like value added tax VAT and let's say entry tax octroi. Now they rely more on center, the transfer from the center, which limits their ability to meet the local financial needs on their own. Limited influence in the GST council, that is the decision making body. Now see, all states are part of the GST council, but decision making is often slow and seen as center dominated. The states, they feel their issues take months to be addressed, which weakens the spirit of consultation in the federal system. So another issue is limited influence in the GST council. Then imposition without consensus. Now some states like the opposition rule states say that some central schemes and fiscal decisions are implemented without proper consultation from the state government. And this creates tension and mistrust, especially for projects that need joint implementation from the center and the states. The last is delayed payments and compensation. Now, states that have often faced delays in receiving GST compensation and other funds have always highlighted this issue during the GST Council meeting. And because of such delays, what happens is the budget planning gets affected. And this causes financial stress. It makes states demand a more predictable, or this makes state demand from the center a more predictable and let's say a transfer system which is fair, which is not biased. So these are some issues. You can mention 4 to 5 points in your mains examination. That will be more than sufficient. So if these are the issues, what is the way forward? How do we move ahead? One, to revisit and expand the devolution framework. The divisible pool should be expanded by including some portion of the cesses and surcharges. Also, simplifying tax rates can help reduce over reliance on these levies and allow for, let's say, fairer sharing of resources between the center and the states. Timely and transparent fund transfers. Now, states face financial uncertainty due to delays in the GST payments. We discussed in the last slide. And as a reason, a robust and rule-based transfer mechanism is needed to build trust and improve the financial planning of the states. Rewarding efficiency and contribution, that's what we discussed in the last slide. The devolution formula should reward states that perform well in governance and tax collection. More weight should be given to GST contributions and tax effort to promote fiscal discipline. You have to reward states doing better job. Institutionalizing state role in fiscal bodies. Now, states should have a formal role in forming and advising the financial commission like they do in the GST council. Very, very important point that you can mention the examination. Why? Because this will ensure that the state concerns are heard right from the very start. And the last is strengthening local governance through resources empowerment. Now, fiscal federalism should also benefit local bodies, the panchayats and the rural local bodies, municipalities and panchayats. States must ensure that funds and responsibilities are passed on the panchayats and the municipalities. This will improve the grassroots development, service delivery, as well as most importantly, accountability. This is how we can address the issues faced by the states. I hope the first topic is clear to you, right? Let us move on. The next topic, Bharat Forecast System set to give sharper rain alerts. Now, in this article, we shall understand more about the Bharat Forecast System. And this we can map under prelims as well as mains under GS paper 3 under the topic environment and ecology. Disaster management, right? Now see, a question was asked in the 2017, climate change is a global problem. How India will be affected by climate change? How Himalayan and coastal states of India will be affected by climate change? Now this question is not directly related to the topic, but it is indirectly related to the topic. That's the reason we have chosen this question to show you as part of the question that came in the UPSC examination. Next topic. What is the context? Now, yesterday on May 26th, the Indian Meteorological Department, the IMD, the Indian Meteorological Department officially adopted the Bharat Forecasting, the Bharat Forecasting System. It was developed by whom? By Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, which is based out of Pune. Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology. Now the system provides a detailed rain forecast down to the rural level, that is the panchayat level, which is the lowest unit of rural governance. Now this Bharat forecast system will have higher grid resolution, will have advanced computing, and it will focus on the tropical weather. And this is a major improvement in India's weather forecasting ability. Let us try to know more about the Bharat forecasting system. One, it is indigenously developed, it is built, or it is an Indian made advanced weather forecasting system developed by IMT Pune. It is developed in India. Next is high resolution forecasting. Now see, this Bharat forecasting system BFS, it gives forecast at a 6 kilometer grid resolution, which is currently the finest in the world. This helps capture the local weather events like small scale rainfall and cyclones with better accuracy. And this Bharat forecasting system is an improvement over the global forecasting system. It replaces this 12-kilometer global forecasting system used in India. This means the forecast resolution has improved 4 times, leading to better precision and prediction. Talking about the supercomputing power. Now see, the BFS is powered by ARCA. ARCA, what is it? It's a supercomputer which was developed at the IITM in Pune. It has a speed of 11.77 petaflops. It can perform over 11 quadrillion operations per second and 33 petabytes of storage. So again, these are the technical terms, but you should remember the word ARCA and the speed. This makes it much faster than the previous system called Pratyush. So please remember these terms. First, Pratyush supercomputer. India had already adopted this system. Now this is being replaced by ARCA, which is another supercomputer. Radar integration. Now if you see, the system uses real-time data from 40 Doppler weather radars, which will expand to 100 radars. This improves uh, the forecasting, which means very short-term forecast, usually up to 2 hours ahead. The coverage, talking about the coverage, the BFS covers tropical regions from 30 degrees south to 30-degree north latitude. It includes all of India's mainland, which is from 8.4 degree north to 37.6 degree north. The use of artificial intelligence, machine learning. Now it uses AI and machine learning to make predictions more accurate and adaptable to changing patterns. Open access data, which means unlike some weather systems, the BFS data is open to researchers worldwide, supporting scientific collaboration. So this data can be accessed by the scientists and the researchers across the world. So these are the features of the Bharat forecasting system. Each and every point is important for your prelims examination. So question on these features can be definitely be asked in the examination. Now, what is the significance of the Bharat forecasting system? One, Atmanirbhar Bharat in action, which means that it is completely built in India, showing progress in self-reliance in science and weather technology. Global relevance. Now, though mainly focus on India, the BFS can be used in other tropical regions, making it helpful for global weather research. Wider socio-economic utility, which means the panchayat level forecast will help the farmers, disaster managers, and the local governments. This will allow better planning, early warnings, and informed decisions at the local level. So if you see the Bharat forecasting system represents a big leap, a big jump in India's ability to predict weather accuracy, especially in the tropical regions. It strengthens India's resilience at the grassroots, and also it gives a major push to India's role in the global climate research. This is the second topic. I hope you understood the second topic. Let us move on to the third topic. First, how a customized gene editing tool was used to treat 9-month-old boy. Now, this will understand what exactly is this CRISPR gene editing technology. So, there was a question on Cas9 protein asked in the year 2019. Now, what is the context? A 9-month-old boy suffering from this deficiency, which is a rare genetic disorder that leads to toxic buildup of amino acids in the blood, became the first person successfully treated using a customized CRISPR gene editing system is the context. Now, what is CRISPR Cas9 is something that we need to understand. Now, please remember that the CRISPR Cas9 is a powerful tool that lets scientists edit the DNA. What is DNA? DNA is a code that controls how the living things grow and function. So this is a tool. The CRISPR-Cas9 is a tool that allows a scientist to edit the DNA. It works like a highly accurate scissor system that can cut and change parts of the DNA in not only in the human beings but also in plants and animals. So that affected DNA is repaired. That's it. So what exactly does this CRISPR mean? The full form, it stands for clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. That sounds complex, but it's just a pattern found in the DNA of some bacteria. Now, bacteria use this to remember viruses that attack them before so that they can fight them off in the future, like a biological memory system. And what is Cas9? Cas9 is nothing but it's a special enzyme. It's a kind of protein. It's a kind of protein that works with the CRISPR, that is CRISPR. Now the Cas9, it acts like scissors. It cuts the DNA at the exact spot which is damaged so that we can edit or we can repair the damaged part with the, let's say, a functional one. So this is about the CRISPR and Cas9. So the question is, how does it work? See, one, the scientists, they give the Cas9, which is an enzyme, a protein, a guide RNA. which is like a map that shows where to go in the DNA. Then the Cas9 cuts the DNA the exact spot it was told to. If scientists give a template a correct copy, the cell will repair the cut by copying the template. This is called homology directed repair. What? Homology directed repair. So this image will show you how the affected part of DNA can be repaired, can be programmed. Right? Okay. Now see, if no template is given, the cell joins the cut ends together on its own, which can cause small mistakes. This is called non-homologous end joining. Okay, fine. Leave the technical aside. The question is, why is it amazing? One, because it is very precise. It changes only the part of the DNA you want. Second, it's fast and cheaper than the older gene editing methods. And third, it is inspired by how bacteria naturally fight viruses. So it's using nature's tool for making advances in the field of science. And then talking about the application, we can use this technology in not only medicine but also in agriculture, as well as we can use in biotechnology as well. So this is the application part. I hope you understood the concept. There are few key terms that you need to remember for this topic. Let us move on to the next topic. What monsoon onset means, why it is early. Now see, this was a question asked in the year 2014. Now the question is, the context is, the southwest monsoon, crucial for India's agriculture and water cycles, arrived in Kerala on May 24, 8 days earlier than the normal date. This early onset, while unusual, has no direct correlation with the amount of rainfall received during the entire monsoon season. This is the context. Now, what do you need to understand? One, what does the monsoon onset mean? One, the IMD declares the onset based on specific scientific and meteorological criteria. One, the rainfall criteria, that is 60% of the 14 designated stations like Trivandrum, Kochi, must report more than 2.5 mm rainfall for 2 consecutive days. Wind field, the southwesterly winds at 80 HPA approx 1.5 km above sea level. The outgoing long wave radiation, the OLR value should be less than 200 watts per meter square. So these are some indicators, these are some criteria on the basis of which the IMD will declare whether there has been an onset of monsoon. So please remember this criteria. Now there are multiple factors influence or that influences early onset. One is the enhanced convention. Enhanced convention due to higher sea surface temperature in the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, causing increased evaporation, formation of the convective systems. Now these are all the geographical concepts that I hope you must have studied. So all I want you is to remember these multiple factors that influences the early warning system, or that influences the early onset of monsoon. So please remember all these factors. Now if you see here the onset dates of the monsoon over Kerala from 2009 to 25. This is what it is mentioned, but please remember that early or late onsets are not uncommon and do not predict the season's rainfall. This is something that you need to remember. Does early onset mean good rainfall? The answer is no. Onset date does not indicate the total seasonal rainfall distribution of rainfall across the country. As early monsoon might lose momentum, leading to dry spells later, conversely, a late onset might still result in above normal rainfall. Just because the monsoon has begun early doesn't mean that this is a good news. It can also be followed by drier spells. Which regions see the earliest monsoons? Southern Kerala, Tamil Nadu, parts of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Lakshadweep and coastal Karnataka. These regions are directly impacted by the Bay of Bengal and Arabian monsoon branches. Very, very important for your prelims examination this point. Let us go through few practice questions. The first one is the means practice question. In the post GST era, the demand for greater share of central taxes by states reflects a deeper structural issues in India's fiscal federalism. Examine the key challenges in center-state fiscal relations and suggest measures for strengthening cooperative federalism. Again, in the answer, in the introduction you need to write about GST, goods and service tax, and how the goods and service taxes affected the distribution of taxes or distribution of revenue between the center and the states. This is what you need to write. You need to also write a line about the finance commission. Then in the body you need to write about the divisible pool of tax concept, the finance commission, and what is the concept about. Then you need to highlight the issues faced by the states with respect to the divisible pool of taxes. So these are few points that we already have discussed, and then these are the way forward. So each and every point we have discussed in the explanation. So make sure that this is a flow that you need to maintain while writing the answer. So make a note of the flow. Now these are the questions based on the topics that we discussed today. Today the first question is on the CRISPR Cas9 gene editing tool. The second is on the factors. So factors, as I told you, this such type of questions can be asked. So here is the practice question for you. Next is about the Bharat Forecasting System. Now these are the questions based on the topics that we discussed on Saturday. Which of the following statements regarding the FATF are correct? The FATF was established in 1989 by the G7 to develop policies aimed at combating the money laundering. Yes, this is the reason why the Financial Action Task Force was established in the year 1989 by G7 group of countries. India has been a member. No, India has been a member. Yes, India is a member, but not since inception. India became a member in the year 2010. So this statement is incorrect. The FATF's mandate includes efforts to counter the financing on proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, like let's say the nuclear weapons. Yes, even this statement is correct. The FATF plenary, which is the decision making body, meets 12 times a year. No, it meets only thrice. Even this statement is incorrect, which means 1 and 3 option A is the correct answer for question number 5. The next question, theater commands, ITC. The theater commands will be responsible for the training and equip. No, they will be responsible for operations. They will be responsible for operations, and for training and equipping, we have these service chiefs. So this is incorrect. Service chiefs will remain operational control. No. The theater commands will retain operational control. This statement is incorrect. The Andaman and Nicobar Island is India's only existing tri-service. Yes, this is correct. The main aim of creating ITs is to improve ceremonial coordination. No. Operational readiness during the war. This statement is incorrect, which means only third statement. Option B is the correct answer. Policy support instrument extended fund facility are related to the provisions of lending by which of the following? Simple answer is IMF. Option B is the correct answer. So that's it, students, from today's DNA. I hope you understood each and every topic that discussed. Any question or any point that you did not understand, feel free to ask in the comment section. On this note, I'll call it a wrap. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to like, subscribe and share it to as many people as possible. Thank you so much for watching.